Sorry about that, I had a phone call I had to get. I'll get back onto the point of the spell effects. So the spell effects, as I was saying, they needed some way of being rated, and I used my friends and my colleagues to try and show us off of the four different ones. The diagonal one was very useless in most situations, apart from the totem pole and the hearts, in which case it would sometimes hit them. The Healy was usually quite useless because if you got it just after a heart run, and obviously there's no way to tell what's inside the chest, you'd usually be max health anyway, so you just end up wasting one of the things, whereas you could have got a bomb or the diagonal shooty. The bomb was by far the best one though, however, because the more enemies that were on the screen, the more bombs you got. So if you had, say, 7 hearts on the screen, you'd get 7 of those bombs, and everything on the screen would just die instantly. So it was a really good power up, which is why it needed quite a long cooldown, which I chose 10 seconds for, so you couldn't just run through each level using it. But if you really wanted to, you could be cheeky and just wait the 10 seconds and then go to the next level. This was one of the biggest problems with my games, is that I had no real incentive for the player to keep on going right. I think this would be one of the few things that I'd really want to explore if I was to do it again. Maybe have a wall of darkness creep up behind the player, and if they stayed in it for too long, they started losing health, which means that they'd be forced to continue going along. And it would also give a nice time constraint to them, because if it kept on moving and you couldn't finish the level that you were on, you would be killed because of that, of the fog finally catching up to you and killing you. The destroy text is just the start of the game. It's attached to the text file, which tells you what the controls are, which we can see just 1 second, sorry about this, just here. So after 5 seconds they're destroyed, so that they don't clutter up the screen at all. This is how the camera works. It's such a small and possibly probably my favorite script out of all of them, because I think the feel of the camera just looks really nice and it fits in with a fast-paced game. There's a slight drag on it, and there's a very strange bug here as well, which I'll go into in this for a second. But the general feel of it and the smoothness of it just makes it feel very natural. However, though, there is a bug with it, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out what it is, so I've just had to leave it in the game. It only happens on the first level, but it's right here. All of a sudden, it just spikes up for no reason other than it can, really. I don't know why it does it, but if we move on to the next level, 1 second, I just need to do this. You can see that when we go to the middle of the level, there's no spike, but when we go back, there's a hump. First I thought it was a collider on the camera or something, but there appears to be no collider. So I really have no idea what was causing that, and I really wish I did, but unfortunately that's the way it goes sometimes, and I had to leave that bug in there. So the way it works is it simply transforms the position of the camera to vector free. So it's a slurp, which is a slow lerp, which is basically just a fancy way of saying slow moving. So it's slowly moving from its current position to go here at a speed of 0.1f. So here we set these. There's a few checks we had to do that it has to do first. So for example, if the player position y is greater than 0.08, then the y becomes the player position, but if not, it's just simply 0.08. This is so that the camera doesn't go under the map and look very weird centered on the character. Like as it is here, you can see the bottom of the map, and then once we go up, it starts putting the camera more and more in the center. I chose to do this because I don't like the idea of the player always being the center of the camera. I think the camera needs to adapt more to the map than it does to the character, and with this I think I accomplished that. And then if the current level is true, x equals player position x. I can't entirely remember why I added this in, and I think this was for one of my old bits. Oh yeah, that was it. This is so I could have added it in where the camera locked to each screen. So for example, instead of having the very nice fluid left and right moving camera, this would be level 1, and then once we completed this, we would then move on to the next level. So there would be a bit here which would just simply snap, and then you'd be on this one. I decided against this idea in the end because it just didn't look right. It felt really forced, and it felt like you were going stage to stage instead of just one continuous run. In my next video, I will be talking about more about the AI and generally putting it all together. Thanks for watching.